Uh, Once again, I welcome you all in the last session of today's paper presentation, chaired by a great researcher and teacher, Dr. A.K. Malik. Dr. Malik is an associate professor in the Department of Mathematics, B.K. Birla Institute of Technology, Pilani, Rajasthan. He is an author of more than 25 books and has published more than 50 research articles in highly indexed journals of repute, recipient of Young Scientist Award, editorial board member of various national and international journals, organized more than 50 conferences, workshops, FDPs, etc., and a dear friend to mine, Dr. A.K. Malik. Over to you, sir. And it's a request to all the participants, please complete your talk within 5 to 6 minutes.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adhar Aziz Rana sir, for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. And welcome to all participants and presentee of this session. Before moving this session, first I call Miss Charity Gold Bencisi. Is here?
Sir, I am here.
Yeah. Welcome, ma'am. Please share your
Thank you, sir.
PPT and start your presentation.
Yes, sir. Sir, myself, Christy Goldbensi, doing my research work under Grace Prema Madam, Head and Associate Professor, St. John's College, Tirunelveli. Topic of my paper is odd even domination decomposition for some graphs. In this paper, I do find the domination number for the whole graph and decompose the graph and compare the both. Abstract. Let S be a dominating set of G be a symbol graph with P vertices and Q edges. A decomposition G1, G2 up to Gn of G is said to be R domination decomposition if the edge disjoint subgraphs. Decomposition is nothing but the edge disjoint subgraph in each component graph. Wheel graph. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Sorry, sir. I'm for sorry.
Okay. No issue, ma'am. No issue. Please continue.
Next, we go into even domination decomposition. Which graphs are admits even domination decomposition? Path graph admits cycle graph admits even domination decomposition. Cycle graph admits even domination decomposition for this particular numbers, and the domination number for the whole graph is this, and the right side one is the domination number for the decomposed cycle graph. Cycle graph Cm-1, Cm-2 up to Cm-2, where m is equal to 3x square plus 8x plus 5 admits even domination decomposition. Comb graph Pn plus 1 is such that n is equal to x square plus 3x plus 2 admits even domination decomposition. Crown graph admits even domination decomposition. And these are my references, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much
Thank you,
for
sir.
your nice presentation on
Thank you,
graph.
sir.
Now I would like to invite next presenter, Ms. Parveen Kumari.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello, yes, sir. Good evening.
Welcome, ma'am. Good evening. Please share your PPT and start your presentation, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm saying. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. Myself, Parveen Kumari, and the title of my today's presentation is Uniformly Convergent Scheme for Two-Parameter Similarly Perturbed Problems with Non-Smooth Data. So, first I will introduce my topic. When does a perturbation is singular? So, I have given here two differential equation. So, we can see that if we take the value of epsilon equal to 0 in first differential equation, then the nothing remarkable will happen. But if we take epsilon equal to 0 in second differential equation, then the equation will not be well posed. So, we can't satisfy f0 equal to f1 equal to u is equal to f and the boundary conditions. So the natural question arises here that what happens when epsilon tends to 0 for this type of potential equation. So the answer is the solution will develop layers. Layers means the small region where the solution varies very rapidly. And the definition of similarly perturbed problems is the similarly perturbed problems are those differential equations which depends on a small parameter epsilon and their solution will approach to a discontinuous limit when the small perturbation parameter epsilon approaches to 0. Such problems are said to be similarly perturbed problems and this small parameter epsilon is said to be perturbation parameter. So the interest in similarly perturbed problems stem from the fact that the solution have layers and from this the related changes that the similar perturbation problems are used to model the phenomena which features the interior and boundary layers. And second one is the standard numerical schemes will not work to find the solution of the similarly perturbed differential equations. And the standard mathematical technique can also fail to give the useful results. So our aim is to construct the epsilon uniform numerical methods which converge independent of that small parameter epsilon. So suppose U is our exact solution and UN with a numerical solution where this capital N is the number of mesh subdivisions used and this is the expression for the maximum pointwise node. Then any numerical scheme is said to be parameter uniform of order P if there exists a positive integer N node such that the supremum of no, by taking the supremum or epsilon, the norm of exact value and approximate value will be less than equal to c n raised to power minus p, where this omega n is the discretization of the omega and c is the epsilon uniform error constant which is independent of epsilon and n. So here this is the problem statement which we have considered in our paper. This is minus psi t plus epsilon 1 psi xs plus epsilon 2. So we have considered the two parameter problem. Here epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 are the two small parameters. And also we have taken the axt and fxt are not a smooth function. They have discontinuity on this domain which is defined as d minus d dE, which is the union of d minus and d plus, and these are the omega gamma is equal to gamma L, gamma B, and gamma are the part of the boundaries. And as I earlier said that A and F are sufficiently smooth, but except at the point of discontinuity. These are some assumptions. After that, this is the numerical scheme followed by S. So in the numerical scheme, first we did the time semi-discretization. So we have used the Crank-Nicolson method on a uniform mass for discretizing the equation in time variable. So from there we will get the system of ordinary differential equations. After that, to solve the system of ordinary differential equation, we have to discretize our scheme in spatial discretization also. But as there are two small parameters, so we can't use the uniform mass. So to that's why we have to define the non-uniform mass, which is dense in the layer regions. So to construct this mesh, we have divided our interval into 6 sub-intervals by defining these transition parameters sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3 and sigma 4, such that we can resolve the boundary layers which are coming from the because of these two small parameters epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, and then we have put it n by 8 mesh elements in these 4 intervals and n by 4 points in these two sub-intervals. And in such a way we have defined the non-uniform mesh, and after that we have used the finite difference scheme on that non-uniform mesh to discretize the system of ordinary differential equations which we got after time semi-discretization by using these mesh spacing and the mesh points. And from here we will get the system of linear equations, and after solving that system of linear equation for each time step we will get the solution of the differential equation. So this is the theorem which we have proved for parameter uniform convergence analysis, which is giving second order convergence for the case 1. There are two cases, so which is giving almost second order in time and almost first order convergence in space for both the cases. So this is the example we have taken to prove the theoretical results, to validate the theoretical results. And these are the expressions for AXT and B and F. And these are the numerical illustrations. So these are the computational results when epsilon 1 is 2 raised to power minus 6, and we have taken the different values of epsilon 2. So we are taking the value of epsilon 2 as small as much as possible, and we are increasing the value of n, and here we can see that as the value of n is increasing, the error is going to be decreasing, and the order of convergence is also converging to 1, which is our theoretical result. So in second table we have fixed the value of epsilon 2, and now we are varying the value of epsilon 1, and by increasing the value of n we can see that the numerical results are validating the theoretical results. And these are the this is the comparison from another paper. So from here we can see that our results are giving the better accuracy in comparison to this. And these are the numerical solution profiles. So here from these profiles we can clearly see that there in the solution there are 3 layers. One layer is at one end at x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 1, and one is the interior layer where there is a discontinuity. And also we can see that as the value of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 we are decreasing, this layer is becoming more and more speed. So as the value of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 is decreasing, the layer are becoming more and more stiff. So this is the numerical solution profile when we have taken the continuous term. So we can see that when we have taken the A and F are continuous, then the interior layer is not there, so only boundary layers are there. So now I conclude the results. So we have observed from the tables that for fixed value of n and delta t, the maximum pointwise error in both cases is fixed after a certain value of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, which confirms the independence of the method on the small parameters epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. Also, the results presented in the tables confirm the theoretical error estimates, and the physical behavior of the solution is shown by the surface plots. And these graphs clearly indicate that the small value of epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, the solution is exhibiting the parabolic boundary layers at both lateral surface and an interior layer near the point of discontinuity. And also it can be noticed that the interior layer may not be appear even if we have taken the convection coefficient is discontinuous. So only boundary layers will appear, which corresponds to the smooth source function. These are some references. And I would like to acknowledge the Department of Science and Technology for the funding and to BITS Pilani campus. Thank you.
Any query from participant side? Any question from participant side? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your nice presentation on numerical. Now I would like to invite next presentee. Miss Subha is here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am. Please share your PPT and start your presentation.
Sir, am I visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Myself, Shubhati, Research Scholar, Department of Mathematics, Scott Christian College, Autonomous, Nagarkoil, under the guidance of Dr. K. Lal Gibson, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, Scott Christian College, Autonomous, Nagarkoil, affiliated to MS University, Tirunelveli. My topic is secure dominating sets and secure dominating polynomials of stars. This is the introduction, secure dominating sets of stars, secure dominating polynomials of stars, and conclusion and references. Introduction. By a graph G equal to V comma E, we mean a finite undirected graph with neither loops nor multiple edges. The order modulus of V and the size modulus of E of G are denoted by N and M respectively. For any vertex V belongs to V, then open neighborhood of V is the set N of V equal to set of all V belongs to V such that U V belongs to E. And the closed neighborhood of V is the set N of V equal to N of the open neighborhood N of V union the singleton set V. For a set S contained in V, the open neighborhood of S is N of S equal to union of V belongs to S, N of V, and the closed neighborhood of S is N of S equal to N of S union S. A star Sn is a complete bipartite graph K1, N. This is an example for star graph. This is a complete bipartite graph of 1, N. This is a star graph with 5 vertices. Definition of domination. A set S contained in V is a dominating set of G if N of S equal to V, or equivalently every vertex in V minus S is adjacent to at least one vertex in S. The domination number is the minimum cardinality of the dominating set and is denoted by gamma of G. For example, the star graph S equal to 1 is the dominating set. Therefore, the gamma of S5 equal to 1. Definition of our secure domination. A dominating set S of G is a secure dominating set if for each U belongs to V minus S, there exists V belongs to N of U intersection S such that S minus V union U is a dominating set. In this case, we say that U is S defended by V or V S defends U. The concept of secure dominating set is introduced by Cockayne and al. The secure domination number gamma S of G is the minimum cardinality of a secure dominating set. This is an example. This is an example for secure dominating set. The star graph S5. The secure dominating set 1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 4, 5 is a dominating set. Then V minus S equal to 3. The 1 is defense 3. We get 2, 3, 4, 5 is also a dominating set. Therefore, 1, 2, 4, 5 is a secure dominating set of the star graph S5. Definition of secure domination polynomial. Let ds G, I denote the family of all secure dominating sets of G with a cardinality I. Let ds G, I is modulus of ds G, I. The secure domination polynomial of ds G, X equal to summation I equal to gamma S of G to cardinality of the vertex set V of G, ds G, I X power I, where gamma S is the secure domination number of G. We use ceiling X for the largest integer less than or equal to X and ceiling X for the smallest integer greater than or equal to X. Also, we denote the set of all 1 to 3 up to N by integral part of N throughout this presentation. Main result, secure dominating sets of stars. Let ds Sn, I be the family of secure dominating sets of Sn with cardinality I. Lemma, let Sn be the star with n vertices, then gamma S of Sn equal to n minus 1 for n greater than or equal to 2. Lemma 2, Sn be the star with n vertices, ds Sn, I be the family of secure dominating set with the cardinality I. Then ds Sn, I not equal to mg if and only if gamma S Sn less than or equal to I less than or equal to n. Also ds Sn, I equal to mg if and only if y less than gamma Sn S. gamma s Sn or I greater than n. Another lemma, if a graph G contains a star graph with k vertices, then every secure dominating set of G must contain at least k minus 1 vertices of the star. Then next lemma, if Y belongs to ds Sn minus 1 comma I minus 1, then Y union n belongs to ds Sn comma I. Next lemma, if ds Sn minus 1 comma I minus 1 equal to ds Sn minus 3 comma I minus 1 equal to mg, then ds Sn minus 2 comma I minus 1 also mg. If ds Sn minus 1 I minus 1 equal to md, then ds Sn comma I also mg. Lemma, if ds Sn comma I not equal to mg, then ds Sn minus 1 comma I minus 1 not equal to mg, ds Sn minus 2 comma I minus 1 not equal to mg, and ds Sn minus 3 comma I minus 1 not equal to mg if and only if n equal to k plus 1 and I equal to k for every k greater than or equal to 2. ds Sn minus 2 comma I minus 1 equal to ds Sn minus 3 comma I minus 1 equal to mg, and ds Sn minus 1 comma I minus 1 not equal to md if and only if I equal to n. Next theorem, for every n greater than or equal to 3 and I greater than or equal to n minus 1, if ds n minus 1 comma I minus 1 not equal to md, ds Sn minus 2 I minus 1 not equal to mg, and ds Sn minus 3 I minus 1 not equal to mg, then ds Sn comma I equal to set of all x1 union n such that x1 belongs to Sn minus 1 I minus 1 union x2 union n minus 1 such that x2 belongs to ds Sn minus 2 comma I minus 1. If ds Sn minus 2 comma I minus 1 equal to ds Sn minus 3 comma I minus 1 equal to mg, and ds Sn minus 1 comma I minus 1 not equal to md, then ds Sn comma I equal to set of all the integral part of n. Secure domination. Next topic is secure domination polynomial of star. Let d Sn comma x equal to summation I equal to n minus 1 to n ds Sn comma I x power I equal to x power n plus n x power n minus 1 be the secure domination polynomial of a star Sn. In this section, we studied this polynomial. Now for that, we use this table. This is the table of number of secure dominating sets of Sn with the cardinality I. Then theorem, if ds Sn comma I is the family of secure dominating set with cardinality I of Sn, then ds Sn comma I equal to ds Sn minus 1 comma I minus 1 plus ds Sn minus 2 comma I minus 1. For every n greater than or equal to 3, ds Sn comma x equal to x into ds Sn minus 1 comma x plus ds x Sn minus 2 comma x. With the initial values ds S1 comma x equal to x, ds S2 comma x equal to x square plus 2x. Theorem. Next theorem, the following properties are hold for the coefficients of ds Sn comma x. ds Sn comma n equal to 1 for every n belongs to the natural number, and ds Sn comma n minus 1 equal to n for every n belongs to n. Conclusion, this paper discussed and analyzed the secure dominating sets of stars and secure domination polynomials of stars. Using recursive formula, we constructed the polynomial ds Sn comma x equal to summation I equal to n minus 1 n ds Sn comma I into x power I equal to x power n plus n into x power n minus 1, which we call secure domination polynomial of Sn, and obtain some properties of this polynomial. These are some references. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any query from participant side? Any query? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. Now, next presenter is Mr. Tanveer Ahmed is here. Mr. Tanveer Ahmed is here. Next one, Miss L. Rosni is here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am. Please
Thank
share
you.
your PPT and start your presentation.
Sir, it is visible.
Not yet, ma'am.
Sir, it is visible.
Not, ma'am.
Oh my gosh.
Ma'am, please wait for 5 minutes. You try next one. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next one is Miss Jamie SC is here.
Yes, I am here, sir.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am. Please share your PPT and start your presentation.
Okay, sir. Few seconds.
Okay, ma'am. Jamie, ma'am, any problem?
Sir. Few seconds, sir. Yeah. Sir, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
Good evening to all. My name is Jamie S.C., Research Scholar, Department of Mathematics, National Memorial Christian College, Martandam, affiliated to Manandam Sundaranath University, Tirunelveli. My topic is three-toed HSM cardiac labyrinth for some path-related jobs under the guidance of Dr. A. Vijayan, Associate Professor, Research Department of Mathematics, National Memorial Christian College, Martandam, affiliated to Manandam Sundaranath University, Tirunelveli. Abstract: for a graph G equals to V of G, E of G, in this paper deal with the edge labeling function f from E of G to 0, 1, 2 and induced vertex labeling f star from V of G to 0, 1, 2 gives us if E1, E2, etc. En are the edge incident on vertex V, then f star of V equal to f of E1 plus 3 f of E2 plus 3 etc. plus 3 f of En. Then the map f is called three-toed HSM cardiac labeling of graph G if coordinates of D of f of I plus E of f of I minus B of f of j plus E of f of j less than or equal to 1, I comma j belongs to 0, 1, 2, where B of f of I and E of f of I denote the total number of vertices and edges with I equal to 0, 1, 2. In this paper, we choose some graph like comb, double comb, regular caterpillar, firecracker or three-toed HSM cardiac graph. See that? Then introduction. The graph considered here are finite indirect time symbols for all standard terminology and the notation follow herald. Let G of B, comma E be a graph where the symbols BFG and EFG denote the vertex set and edge set respectively. Graph labeling serves as a boundary between number theory and the application of graph. A dynamic survey of graph labeling is regularly updated by Gallium. Cardial graph was introduced by Zahid as a weaker version of both graceful and harmonic graph. The concept of sum cardial labeling of graph was introduced by Taima. The concept of three total HSM cardial labeling of graph was introduced by Tengura Appa and Varma Ringu. The edge product cardial labeling of graph was introduced by Vaitya SK and Barasara. We give a brief summary of definition which are used for the question. Definition. These two definitions are basic of my topic. Definition 2.1. Let G be a graph. Let F from BFG to 0, 1, 2. For each edge U, we assign the label coordinate of F of U plus F of V mod 3. Then the map F is called 3 total sum cardial labeling of G if coordinate F of I minus F of J less than or equal to 1. I, J belongs to 0, 1, 2. Where F of X denotes the total number of vertices and edges with X equal to 0, 1, 2. Definition 2.2. For a graph T, the edge labeling function F from EFG to 0, 1, 2 and induced vertex labeling F star from BFG to 0, 1, 2 gives us if E1, E2, etc. E are the edge incident on vertex, then F star of B equal to F of E1 plus 3 F of E2 plus 3 etc. plus 3 F of E. Then the map F is called 3 total HSM cardial labeling of graph G if coordinate of F of I minus F of J less than or equal to 1. I, J belongs to 0, 1, 2, where F of X denotes the total number of vertices and edges with X equal to 0, 1, 2. Main result. Theorem 3.1. The comb Pn corona K1 is 3 total HSM cardial for n greater than or equal to 3. This is a table of this graph. This table shows that this theorem has 3 cases, n equal to 3t and n equal to 3t plus 1 and n equal to 3t plus 2. This is edge condition and vertex condition and 3 total HSM condition. This is an example of comb graph. Here in this figure, after the label, total number of zeros of vertex and edges are 7. Total number of ones of vertex and edges are 6. Total number of two of vertex and edges are 6. Put these values in 3 total HSM condition. If the graph satisfies this condition, then the graph is called 3 total HSM cardial graph. Then theorem 3.2. The double comb is 3 total HSM cardial for n greater than or equal to 3. This table is also shows that this theorem has 3 cases, n equal to 3t and n equal to 3t plus 1 and n equal to 3t plus 2. Edge condition and vertex condition and 3 total HSM condition. This is the example of double comb. Here in this figure, total number of zeros of vertex and edges are 11. Total number of ones of vertex and edges are 12. And the total number of 2 of vertex and edges are 12. Then theorem 3.3, the regular caterpillar Pn corona RK1 is a 3 total HSM cardial graph for n greater than or equal to 3 and R equal to 3. This table shows that this theorem has 2 cases, n equal to 3t and n equal to 3t plus 1. This is edge condition and vertex condition and 3 total HSM condition. Remark, the regular caterpillar Pn corona 3K1 is not a 3 total HSM cardial graph if n congruent to 2 mod 3. This is an example. Then theorem 3.4, the firecracker Fn, 3 total HSM cardial for n greater than or equal to 3. Also, this table shows that this theorem has 2 cases, n equal to 3t and n equal to 3t plus 1, edge condition and vertex condition and 3 total HSM condition. Remark, the firecracker Fn, 3 is not a 3 total HSM cardial graph if n congruent to 2 mod 3. This is the example of firecracker. Then conclusion. Labeling of discrete structure is a potential area of research due to its diverse application. We discuss here 3 total HSM cardial labeling for some path-related graphs. We contribute some results to the theory of these 3 total HSM cardial labeling. We investigate analog the result for different graphs as well as in the context of various graph labeling problem. Is an open area of research. These are the reference. Thank you. Sir,
Hello. Any query from participant side? Any question? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your nice presentation.
thank you, sir.
Okay. Miss L. Rosni,
Yes, sir.
yeah, please try again.
Sir, it is visible.
Uh,
Sir, it is visible.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Myself, L. Roshni, research scholar, Department of Mathematics in Pioneer Kumaraswamy College under the guidance of C. Jayasekharan, Department of Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics in Pioneer Kumaraswamy College. And my presentation topic is relatively prime inverse domination on vertex switching of some graphs. This is my introduction.
Ma'am, can you increase your screen size?
So this is my abstract and this is my introduction. In this chapter has some definitions. The definitions of relatively prime inverse domination is, let D be a minimum dominating set of a graph G if V minus D contains a dominating set of G, then S is called an inverse dominating set with respect to D. In an inverse dominating set, every pair of vertices U and V in such that degree of U comma degree of V equal to 1, then S is called relatively prime inverse dominating set. The minimum cardinality of relatively prime inverse dominating set is called relatively prime inverse dominating number, and it is denoted by gamma rp, relatively prime inverse of G. And this is a known result if G is graph with no isolate vertices that complement V minus S of every minimal dominating set. S is a dominating set. And this is my first theorem. Let Pn be a path n greater than or equal to 2 and V be a vertex of Pn, then n equal to 2, then relatively prime inverse dominating set of path equal to 0. For n equal to 3, 4, then relatively prime inverse dominating set path equal to 2 if V is an end vertex and 0 is otherwise. For example, in this case, for n equal to sorry sir, if in this case for n equal to 3, we switch vertex V1 means then the resulting graph is V2 is adjacent to V3 and V2 is non-adjacent to V1. So we get the domination set, minimum dominating set D equal to V3, and minimum inverse dominating set is V2 comma n minus 1. So GCD of degree V2 comma degree of Vn minus 1 equal to 1. So S is called inverse relatively prime inverse dominating set. Following this remaining cases for n equal to 5 comma 6, then the relatively prime inverse dominating set of path equal to 2 if V is an end vertex, 0 if V is a support vertex, 3 if V is an internal vertex, but not a support vertex. For n equal to 7, 8, then the relatively prime inverse dominating set of path equal to 0. If V is the support vertex, 0 is 0 otherwise. For n equal to 9, then the relatively prime inverse dominating set path equal to 3 if V is an internal vertex but not a support vertex and end vertex, 0 otherwise. For n greater than or equal to 3, then the relatively prime inverse dominating set of path equal to 0. The next theorem,
Ma'am, please conclude your presentation, please.
Next theorem, let Cn be the cycle of order n greater than or equal to 3 and V be a vertex of Cn. Then the relatively prime inverse dominating set of cycle equal to 2 if n equal to 5, 6, 3 if n equal to 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 0 otherwise. This is an example of cycle C5. Suppose V1 is switch means we will then the resulting graph is C5V1. So here in this graph, V2 and Vn minus 1 is minimum dominating set, and minimum inverse dominating set is V1 and V5. So GCD of degree V1 degree V5 equal to 1. So then S is called relatively prime inverse dominating set. Then the next theorem, let Fn be the let Fn be the friendship graph. Let V be any vertex of Fn. Then for n greater than or equal to 2, then relatively prime inverse dominating set of friendship graph equal to 2 if V is not a central vertex, 0 otherwise. These are my references. Thank you for your wonderful, valuable time, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Any query from participant side? Any question? Okay, next. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. Next one is Jamil Ahmed is here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, welcome, dear. Please share your PPT and start your presentation.
Okay.
Due to time constraint, please take only 5 minutes.
Sir, are you able to see my PPT?
Yes, dear. Yes. Please continue.
A very good evening to all of you. Respected Malik sir, Rena sir, and other jury members. I am Jamil Ahmed, working as Assistant Professor in Manu, Hyderabad, Department of Computer Science. And I'm doing research from NIT Srinagar. Today, I am going to present my paper titled IoT and Machine Learning Based Disease Monitoring and Prediction System. So as all of you know that IoT is the new revolution, which is Internet of Things, and machine learning is a learning by which we can develop the prediction models. So how we can unify both these technologies so as to monitor the disease and predict the disease. So these are my contents I will discuss in this presentation. First is introduction, then issues and challenges, then machine learning, then why we need disease monitoring and prediction system, then my proposed system, results, conclusion, and references. So abstract, in abstract, I want to describe a little more about Internet of Things. So Internet of Things can be defined as a little world of connected things. Things means any thing that we use in our daily life. We can make it communicable with the integration of smart devices or electronic devices like sensors, actuators, gateways, etc. So nowadays, Internet of Things have so many applications in various areas like smart homes, agriculture, disaster management, healthcare system, smart grids, automation centers, industrial system, and many more. Machine learning is another paradigm of the technology revolution, which is used as a predictive analytics techniques. So we have many types of machine learning algorithms by which we can develop the prediction models, like models for the prediction of heart diseases or any life-threatening disease. So the data can be accumulated or can be collected by using the medical sensors like temperature sensor, ECG sensor, BP sensors, and many more which can be used in our work. So this is about the introduction of IoT as I discussed. So IoT is a 3-layered architecture. It can also be considered as a 5-layer architecture. These are the 3 layers of the architecture. First, in the perception layer, which is also called as a device layer. Next is the network layer, which is also called as middleware layer. And last one is the application layer, by which the user can access the application. A user can use the application. So in the perception layer, we can collect the data. Then through the network layer, we can transmit the data to the transport layer and do the this processing at the middleware layer. And from that middleware, we can pass on the model or data to the application layer for further use in the application. So there are many issues and challenges in IoT. For example, we have as we are saying that IoT can connect around 50 billion devices by 2025. So in that case, we have the problems of addressability, in which we can use IPv4 or IPv6. Then we have the problem of security, privacy, legal regulatory, economic development, and many more challenges like interoperability. So now I come to the interoperability. In interoperability, there are many types of interoperability like network, platform, syntactic, and semantic. So I choose the topic semantic interoperability for my work. So these are the types of interoperability. And in this interoperability, semantic interoperability is a type of interoperability in which we can see that data is heterogeneous in nature and collected from the different sources. Now, how we can make it meaningful so that any application can understand the data and work according to it. So next is the machine learning. As I told, that machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence that allows computers to learn and improve on their own without having any explicitly programmed. So learning is of 3 types, like supervised, unsupervised, and supervised is further classified into semi-supervised, active, and reinforcement learning. Furthermore, we can also say that there are a number of algorithms, classifiers, clusters available for the development of various prediction models like decision tree, random forest, KNN, support vector machine, etc., etc. So why we need to have a disease prediction model and monitoring model? As we have seen in the past 2 years that we are dealing with COVID-19. And in this case, if a patient is affected from the COVID-19, no one wants to go and check that patient. So in that case, we can utilize the sensors to collect the information of that particular patient. And on the basis of the information, a person can be monitored. And further, when machine learning is applied to that data of the patient, so in that case, we can develop the prediction models. So in future, on the basis of that data, we can predict that is the person can suffer from the COVID-19 or any other disease or healthcare disease that is based upon the collected data from the sensors. So this is my proposed system. I collect the data using sensors and gadgets of different patients. Then the data is heterogeneous in nature, means data comes from different platforms, different sources, and is in different format. So there's a problem that how to accumulate or how to use this data of different formats, different sources in our application. So in that case, we use the rule engine, mapping translation. We use a mapping file so as to make this data into the RDF format. So then we generate the RDF of this data using the mapping, engine mapping, and then RDF is generated, which is having the data of all the sensors from different sources. Then through that data, we use the knowledge graphs so that we can easily retrieve the particular information from this knowledge graph, which is having the RDF as a data set. So after the information retrieval using Sparkle queries, we use Sparkle queries to retrieve the information. Then we utilize the machine learning techniques to the data, and from this block, we can have the information of the patient. A doctor can have the information of the patient. The doctor can monitor the patient on the basis of the information. On the other hand, with the help of machine learning, he can also see the prediction results of the particular patient. So a doctor can have the overview of the patient by two ways. One on the basis of the collected data and other on the basis of the prediction. So these are my steps, like first data collection and data pre-processing. I collected the data using the sensor. The data is in different formats like JSON, CSV and XML. Then I pre-process the data for null values and other and clean the data. Then semantics mapping, I use RML techniques where I generated RML triple maps for mapping my data and transforming into RDF. Then the transformed data is then applied to GraphDB and AnsoGraph for creation of knowledge graph. From this knowledge graph, we retrieve the data using Sparkle queries. The format of Sparkle queries is written here over here. Now, next is we applied the machine learning algorithms to the data set for predictive analytics. So in that case, we use 7 different algorithms like logistic regression, support vector machine, KNN, decision tree, AdaBoost, gradient boosting for the development of prediction models. So next, we can have the system where a doctor can diagnose and predict the patient on the basis of the collected data through the use of the sensors. So this is the format of Sparkle queries. Then in order to retrieve the information from the knowledge graph, we simply write down the Sparkle queries, but the Sparkle queries are written on the basis of the competency questions. So what are these competency questions? Competency questions are normal human language based simple questions which are drafted how we can retrieve the information from the knowledge graph. So this is the Sparkle query format. Now, this is the information on the basis of the query which we written. So we can extract the information. This is my result. We extract the information on the basis of the Sparkle queries. So suppose there's a patient with having patient ID 1, his age is 39, graduate and above, and all these are the parameters which are associated with the particular patient. So this is the this comes as a result of the data collected using sensors and smart devices. So this is a Sparkle query and results graph. So similarly, we can also write the Sparkle query and generate the graph of the output. So this is my machine learning based results. We utilize around 7 machine learning algorithms and developed the 7 models. And of these models, we generated ROC curves. So this is a combination of 7 ROC curves of different models like decision tree, random forest, k-nearest neighbor, etc. So the ROC curve is generated between false positive rate and true positive rate. Now these are the machine learning based performance metrics like AU ROC curve, F1 score, accuracy, recall, precision, and misclassification. And then when we compared all these models, then we got that random forest search is the algorithm which is having the efficiency of around 96%. Then later on, we can also do the hyperparameter tuning and assembling using soft voting so as to improve the accuracy of the model. And the conclusion is that we can easily unify the IoT and machine learning, which are the 2 paradigms of information and communication technology for the prediction and diagnosis of the disease. So by this way, a patient is located at any location, can be monitored, can be diagnosed, can be predicted from a disease by the specialist located at a different location from the patient. So by this way, we can increase the healthcare system, which comes under the smart healthcare system, which is a part of the Internet of Things. So these are my references. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, dear. Any query from participant side? Any question? Any query? Okay. Thank you, dear. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. Now I would like to invite next presentee. Mr. Arun Digambar is here.
Yes, sir. I am presenting, sir.
Yeah. Welcome, dear. Please share your PPT and start your presentation.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, dear.
I am Arun Nagroje, research student. I am pursuing PhD under the guidance of Dr. V.C. Borkar. My title is Existence and Uniqueness of Mild Solution of Fractional Order Volterra Integral Differential Equation. In this paper, we will discuss the existence and uniqueness of solution to non-linear singular initial value problem of fractional order subjected to initial conditions by using contraction mapping principle. Moreover, this result is applied to radially symmetric non-singular treeless problem of fractional order. Consider the problem singular initial value problem. See the point equation 1.1 is our main problem, and this initial condition 1.2, where n belong to natural number and g from R to R is a locally Lipschitzian function. We will check existence and uniqueness. Most commonly used definition are Riemann-Liouville and Capito in fractional calculus, but I consider here Capito definition because it allowed traditional initial and boundary conditions. My main result is theorem 2.1. Let a real number be greater than 0 be such that g of v is greater than or equal to 0 for any v belong to R. Mod of v is greater than b. If g is locally Lipschitzian, then for every d belong to R, problem 1.1 to 1.2 has unique solution v of td on interval close interval 0, capital T continuously depend on d. We have to prove this result. We need some definition, theorem and lemma. See the definition of Lipschitzian, locally Lipschitzian. If given in a bounded set R0 to R, there exists a real number a greater than 0 depending on R0, such that for all R1, R2 belong to R0 is a subset of R. This condition 2.1, if satisfied, then this function is locally Lipschitzian. We need this theorem 2.2. If g from R to R is there exists epsilon greater than 0, such that problem 1.1 to 1.2 has unique solution v of t comma d on close interval into close interval d1 minus 1 by 4 comma d1 plus 1 by 4. Moreover, v comma d continuously depends on d in topology of c of closed interval 0 comma epsilon comma r defined by this norm. Direct I will go to this use the lemma. See the lemma 2.3. Let v comma d be a solution to 1.1 and equation 1.2 on closed interval 5 comma eta. If limit t belongs to eta, supremum of mod of v comma d, v of t comma d is less than infinity, then there exists epsilon bar greater than 0 and v bar from close bracket 5 comma eta plus epsilon greater than epsilon tends to R, that satisfies the equation 1.1 and 1.2, and v of bar equal to v on close interval 5 comma eta. Using this lemma 2.2 and theorem 2.2, we will prove our main result. Proof of main result from theorem 2.2 and lemma 2.3, we see that a solution to 1.1 and 1.2 exists, and that it can either be extended to the interval close interval 0 t, or it blows up. We will prove this theorem by contradiction method. Suppose that it blows up, that is there exists t bar belong to close interval 0 t and increasing sequence tn such that tn tends to t bar and v of tn d whole square tends to infinity. If v raised to alpha tn d whole square does not tend to infinity, then by mean value theorem a new increasing sequence tn raised to alpha exists such that tn raised to alpha tends to t bar and v raised to alpha of tn raised to alpha d tends to infinity. Thus, without loss of generality, we can assume that equation 2.4, the energy of the solution to problem 1.1 to 1.2 is defined by the equation 2.5 by solving from 2.4 and the assumption g of v is greater than or equal to 0 for v sufficiently large. We have the equation 2.6. From 2.5 we obtain by using contraction mapping principle the equation 2.7, which is contradict to equation 2.6. Hence there is no blow up, which our assumption is wrong. So this implies that
Hello. Hello, dear Arun. Your voice is not audible. Dear Arun, your voice is not audible. Hello, Arun. Are you listening? Okay.
Sir, I think his connection is lost.
Yeah.
Sir,
Okay.
one participant, Yamni Yadav, she wants to present. She's in the previous session. At that time, she didn't present. Now she wants to present.
Okay, no issue, dear. But in last we will
Okay.
take a presentation. Next one is Dr. Asim Mir is here. Dr. Asim Mir. Next one, Mr. Atikul Rahman.
Yes, sir, I am present.
Okay, welcome, dear. Please share your
Okay,
PPT and start your presentation.
Okay, sir.
Yamni, ma'am,
Yes.
your turn is next one. Next
Okay,
one
sir.
is
Okay,
your
sir.
turn. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, dear.
Very good evening to all of you. I, Atiq Rahman, pursuing PhD in mathematics from Baba Ghulam Shah Badshah University, Rajouri, under the supervision of Dr. Ram Singh in the field of mathematical biology. So the topic of my talk is stability, bifurcation, and sensitivity analysis of fractional order Dengue model. So here is the outlines of my talk: introduction, mathematical model formulation, basic properties of the model, next the analysis, numerical methods and simulations, results and discussion, and then conclusions. So here is the introduction about dengue. So here is the introduction about dengue, in which I have write about the history of dengue, in which parts of the world the dengue is present. And next, in these slides, I mention about the fraction calculus, in which the namely derivatives are used: Hedmans, Tangna Belluna, Capito Fabrizio, and many others. So, but I have used in this talk Capito Fabrizio, Capito only, because it has higher quality than others. So here is the basic about my model, in which we have two populations class. First one is total vector population, which is denoted by E1 of t, and another one is host population class, which is denoted by E2 of t. And these equations are these. So next we have the classical integer model, in which we have two classes: mosquito population and human populations. So next, this is the transmission diagrams of dengue epidemics, and the table is for state variables and the descriptions. So next, in this slide, I have changed this integer order model into fractional order model, and here C is denoted by Capito. So next, the basic properties of the model, in which I have discussed about their invariance and attractivity. So on the basis, I have write here lemma, in which we have shown the invariance of this model. So next, in this slide, I mention about equilibrium points, and in which in equilibrium points we have two types of equilibriums: disease-free equilibriums and endemic equilibriums. So disease-free equilibrium points are those at which the disease may omit, and exist endemic equilibrium points are those points in which the disease persists. So here is the stability, and I solve it at disease-free equilibrium points. So on the basis of disease-free equilibrium points, I have the theorems. Next, this is the proposition, which is also based on disease-free equilibrium points. So next, this is the stability of endemic equilibrium points. So on the basis, we have a proposition and we have used here Roche-Harvich criteria. So next, I discuss it with numerical methods and simulations. So here the numerical methods is used Adams, Bashforth, Moulton predictor corrector schemes. So these are the algorithms of these methods. So here in this section, results and discussions in which I have used the MATLAB softwares. So on the basis of this software, I have used these values. So on the basis of these values, I have made these graphs. And here is the conclusion of my talk. These are the references that I have used.
Thank you, dear. Any query from participant side? Any question? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Next one, I recall some Tanveer Ahmad is here. Dr. Asim Mir is here. Okay, two are absentee. Now, welcome, ma'am. Yamini, ma'am, please share your PPT and start your presentation.
जी सर, ओके सर, थैंक यू. I'm visible, sir.
Not yet, ma'am.
Now, ma'am?
Yes,
Now, sir?
yes. Please increase the size of PPT.
Actually, some issues in my laptop, so I present by my mobile.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Please continue, please.
Good evening to all of respected sir. Myself Yamini Yadav, research PhD scholar, Department of Mathematics, Atal Bihari Vajpayee Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. Now I am presenting the topic approximation of functions belonging to the weighted class by using almost resummability methods of its Fourier series. Now, introduction. The summability methods of real or complex sequence by infinite matrices are the three types: ordinary, absolute, and strong. In the same way, it is expected that the concept of almost convergence must give rise to three types of summability methods: almost, absolutely almost, and strongly almost. Here, we introduce a generalized theorem on the degree of approximation of function belonging to the weighted class by almost resummability method of its Fourier series. Now, I give the definitions and notations. Fourier series, let f belongs to L between interval 0 to 2 pi be periodic function with period 2 pi. C 2 pi is the collection of all continuous functions with period 2 pi, and the Fourier series of f is given by f of x is equal to a naught by 2 plus summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity a n cos nx plus b n sin nx, where a naught, a n, and b n are the Fourier coefficients. Now the second definition, degree of approximation. The degree of approximation of a function f from R to R by a trigonometric polynomial Tn of order n is defined by Zygmunt in 1935 by norm Tn minus f norm infinity is equal to supremum of Tn x minus f of x such that x belongs to R. And the degree of approximation MNF is defined by MNF is equal to minimum of norm of f minus Tn norm p, where Tn is trigonometric polynomial of degree n. And I used this summability method in my paper, almost resummability method. According to Lorentz, a bounded sequence Sk of k partial sums of an infinite series 1 is said to be almost convergent to S if following this. And Sharma and Qureshi have defined that an infinite summation un with the sequence of partial sums of infinite Fourier series 1 is called almost resummable to a finite number s, provided tau nr is equal to 1 upon Pn, summation k is equal to 0 to n pk skr tends to s as n tends to infinity, uniformly with respect to r, where skr is equal to 1 upon k plus 1 summation of y gamma is equal to r plus k s gamma. Now, the classes, definitions of different classes. Here, I defined LIP alpha class, LIP advanced, LIP alpha are advanced class of LIP alpha, and LIP xi TP, xi T R is advanced of LIP alpha R and weighted advanced of LIP xi TP R. So I used here weighted class for generalize the theorem. Now, I use this statement of given theorem. So here I define known theorem. If f is a function from R to R is 2 pi periodic and Lebesgue integrable and belonging to the LIP alpha R, where R is greater than or equal to 1 class, then the degree of approximation of a periodic function f belongs to LIP alpha R class by almost Rees means of its infinite Fourier series is given by. Now I use this result and here all lemmas of this theorem and generalized this theorem by used weighted class. Now here main theorem is the statement of this theorem. If f is a function from R to R is 2 pi periodic and Lebesgue integrable on minus pi to pi a. So, and f belongs to weighted class, then the degree of approximation of function by almost Rees means of the Fourier series 1 is given by non tau nr f t x minus f of t norm r is equal to order of Pn whole power beta plus 1 upon r xi 1 upon Pn, provided xi t satisfy the following conditions. First is integration between interval 0 to 1 upon n plus 2 t phi t upon xi t whole power p sine to the power beta p t dt whole power 1 by p is equal to order of 1 upon n plus 2, and second one is integration between interval 1 upon n plus 2 to pi t to the power minus sigma phi t upon xi t whole power p dt whole power 1 by p is equal to order of n plus 2 whole power sigma, and I use this references are given. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any query from participant side? Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for your nice presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone presenter for this session? Mr. Tanveer Awad, Dr. Asim Mir is here. Okay, so I conclude this session. Thanks to all participants, to all presentee and participants of this session. And
thank you.
I would like to thank also my dear friends, Dr. Athar Aziz Rena, and organizer to organize such a wonderful international conference. Thank you very much.